Hi, my name is Sanja Licina and I'm the president of QuestionPro Workforce. And what our team is just so laser focused on and so passionate about is helping organizations create better cultures, create better employee experiences for their people. And the way we do it is helping organizations create employee listening programs that are really based on empathy and compassion. And we help organizations think through what kind of questions are most important to ask. What could I do this with this kind of data? How do I take most effective action? So I hope that you enjoy some of the insights that we share today. And I hope that you are on a remarkable place in your employee journey. And if there's any way that we can help you create better, happier, more productive workplaces, please let us know.
¿Cuál es la importancia de los recursos humanos en las empresas en la actualidad?
I think the role of HR is tremendously important across organizations. I think in many ways it always has been, but the pandemic really shed a brighter light on the criticality that HR brings to the organization, everything from during that time period. We talked a lot about digital transformation and how quickly organizations had to change when it came to technology, but they really had to change very quickly in the way that many, if not all, industries worked. And HR was a really key player in making that happen. And so we're seeing now that especially during this, the last year or two, when we've had an option to choose hybrid work or what kind of work flexibility do we have, HR was really a strategic partner to the CEO in helping make those decisions and how do we keep our people productive. And unfortunately now, as we see a lot of organizations have to take a look at their staff and understand, can we keep everybody? Do we need to go through a layoff? HR is being consulted to understand what's the best way to approach this. And not only in how do we make the decisions, but also one of the most important things in how do we make sure that we communicate what decisions were made effectively to the people that stay behind, because those are the individuals that more than likely will have to take on more work, will wonder if is this going to happen again, am I safe in my job, etc. So really in all kinds of ways that you can think of, HR is really critical in not only the current labor market and the past, but also in how organizations decide to move ahead and really be able to continue to do well and thrive, not only with the changes they have to make internally, but also with the external environment.
¿Cuáles son algunos de los retos más importantes que tiene el área de recursos humanos?
I think there are several challenges that HR is facing today. And one, of course, is the changing labor market and how do we make sure that we have the right company set up to continue to perform well, to continue to deliver on expectations, but also to continue to create a space that's a really good culture for our teams where they can succeed and not only enjoy the work that they're doing, but also be productive for the organization. And I think a key component in that is having a conversation with your employees. One of the things that has really come to light even more in the recent years than before the pandemic potentially is how different many people's needs are, and then also how quickly they're changing. And so having that ongoing dialogue with the employees really helps an organization understand what is it that I need to do to really make sure that I'm keeping people engaged, productive, and retaining them, wanting them to stay with the organization. That kind of information, the kind of survey data also allows for data-driven decisions. So things around us can change very quickly, and when we don't have the data, we might have to make a decision based on our feeling and our gut. And that can be hard because a lot of times we're not sure what kind of decisions to make and we're not sure what kind of outcomes to expect. And so having that kind of data really helps inform our journey. And I think the final one is going to continue to be, unfortunately, with a lot of organizations maybe having to downsize, right-size, whatever the terms we want to use. HR it's going to be so incredibly critical, not only about how do we make those correct decisions and how do we communicate them effectively, but also how do we make sure we're communicating them to the people who are staying as well, because they're the ones that are going to want that we're going to want to keep, right, that are going to keep the organization going, and they're going to have a lot of questions and doubts. And so making sure to have that right communication and also understand what do we need to deliver for them to retain them and keep them productive particularly is going to be essential.
¿Qué recomendaciones darías para enfrentar estos retos?
Many organizations are currently going through the decisions around, can we keep all of our employees, and if we can, do we pause hiring? If we can't, who do we let go? How do we communicate that? And all of those things are incredibly important considerations. One piece of advice that I would give to HR departments is to remember those individuals who are staying, because they are going to be the ones that are going to continue to drive the organization forward. And even though if you have to, for example, let go of any percentage of your workforce, they are going to have concerns around what's going to happen with me. More than likely, they're going to have a greater workload. And so I think one of the best things that you can do is continue to ask them, have ongoing conversations, whether it's through managers or employee surveys, to understand how they're feeling, understand their needs, and really show up for them based on that data. So it's not just about asking, it's about taking action. Now, everybody knows that there's limited resources. So I'm not saying go out and do these huge changes and have these huge initiatives. But at this point in time, for employees to feel seen and heard, when the organization and they both are going through a challenging time, and even if you choose one initiative or two initiatives based on that feedback, that is going to build so much trust in the organization, and it's going to infinitely help your retention efforts. So that would be my one piece of advice, is I know that there are a lot of things going on. Do prioritize your employees and do think about even some of the small meaningful things that you can do, because it really will go a long way during this very challenging time globally.
¿Cuáles fueron algunos de los hallazgos del estudio Creando Viajes Memorables de Empleados?
QuestionPro just released a benchmarking study called Creating Remarkable Employee Journeys. And the reason we ran this study is because we wanted to get a better understanding of what's going on in the market. What are workers across the board really excited about? What's not going as well inside their organizations? And really for organizations to be able to use that data as a foundation to say, how are these things actually unfolding inside my organization? Are these things maybe some things I should be worried about, I should take a look at, change? And so we wanted to highlight some of the areas that would be important for organizations to take a look and see how they're performing, and if they could be some of the potential drivers of risk and drop in productivity, risk of retention, etc. Some of the things that we found in particular is that nearly half of the people are not satisfied with where they are with their career in the moment, and that's a lot. And actually, when somebody is not satisfied with where they are in their career, they're 2.5 times more likely to apply for a job outside of the organization than somebody who's satisfied. So maybe not that surprising, but the question might be, do you know how people inside your organization are doing when it comes to their careers? We also found some opportunities to continue to improve well-being, to continue to improve recognition inside organizations, and much, much more. So I really do hope you check out our study, and I do hope that it gives you some inspiration around the kinds of conversations and surveys you can have inside your own company.